Time for our weekly conversation with pride of the Jaguars running back Fred Taylor. It is week 5, Fred, and the Jaguars do not have a win yet. Let's hope today's the day. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, JP. We're certainly hoping that there's today. I mean, we got a lot of alumni back in town, and no other better feeling for a former player is to see our guys win. Even though we're not in the building, we still root and support the organization that helped change our lives. And we are usually the ones that are the sort of the butt of the jokes, and we have to kind of maneuver, dip, dodge, and try our best to remain sane, especially in this moment when the guys aren't, they're at the bottom of the league. Let's just call it what it is. But hopefully it does not rain on the alumni parade, and also Coach Coughlin's induction into the pride of the Jaguars, which I think more than anything is well long overdue and certainly well deserved. And hopefully the guys can put a good product out on the field so we can cheer on both ends, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what I hope happens.
Fred, let's get to the football team and the quarterback play. I mean, he missed a couple big throws last week with guys that were open down the field. This happened a few times this year. And, at some point you just got to make those plays. And I don't know if he's pressing or what the story is, but what do you think the story is with Trevor?
If I had the answer to that, man, I would give him to Trevor. And he'll make the entire team better, all in the snap of a finger, or maybe in the snap of a reception or a completion, or whatever it might be, JP. Trevor is certainly struggling. We haven't seen him play this bad. And we mentioned in the post game that if he was playing this bad and winning, we wouldn't say a whole lot. We might acknowledge it, but you win games. In the NFL, it's about winning games because everyone's good and the margins are very slim. Some guys are great, but in this particular case, we just want to win. We don't want him to play great. We want him to go out there, manage expectations on the small things. And that's just completing passes when you're supposed to. Hit the receivers you're supposed to hit. We see acrobatic catches. We see receivers making those type catches and plays and all these things. And we're able to, sort of come away from that and cheer for those guys like, wow, we've never seen that before. But same thing with quarterback making throws clutch, scrambling, moving around in the pocket. You're hitting a guy to allow him to tiptoe for an out of bounds catch, all that stuff. Like, just make the throws you're supposed to make. You don't have to do anything special. Like, it doesn't have to be a moment. It has to be he was supposed to make that throw type moment. And that's what it comes down in the NFL, man. You're supposed to make the plays you're supposed to make. The elite guy is supposed to go above and beyond. The amount of money he was paid, and we always go back to that. Yes, we put you in that elite category, and we feel that you should be able to play above and beyond the simple X's and O's. But in this particular case, being 0-4, looking in the eyes of 0-5, we just want to go out there and just make the simple throws that you're supposed to make. And those throws, if you make them, you wouldn't be in this situation.
Fred Taylor with us, proud of the Jaguars running back. And what did you think of the running game last week, ETN, and especially Tank Bigsby? And is this something that is trending the right way to do week over week? Have they maybe found something in the running game?
That was the big question in the offseason. While we're sitting there questioning the running game, which was, I think, more than anything, it was the offensive line was the theme in the running game. What were they going to do? Yes, they can be better in the pass protection. They could be better. The run game, we've seen 3 or 4 of these losses. Well, they've rushed over 125 yards per outing. First game against the Dolphins, I think 128. Then they followed that up, Cleveland, 120 something. Although the run game did hurt them, because of the turnovers. You can't have those. But in terms of running statistics, being able to create that balance you were looking for, the run game has been present. It's the passing game that's lacking. So I think you can try to force the issue a bit more. If you don't get behind the eight ball, if your defense is out there playing well, they're going to give you an opportunity. Run the ball, set up play actions off of those same runs, marry it up so where they look identical, and then throw your deep shots. And if you don't have them deep there, throw your checkdowns to the running backs that are seeping out of the backfield. So that's usually a simple formula that can also help you in the long run. So establish your run. As much as they don't want to play the position, JP, you still got to run the ball. Otherwise, they're just going to hammer down, pin their head, their ears back, and come and get your quarterback. So establish the run play action off that, throw the check downs, and throw a few deep shots if you can. If not, throw the check downs, but always try to keep the chains moving.
Fred Taylor with us. On the other side this week, we'll see what the status is for Jonathan Taylor, of course, and Anthony Richardson, and, of course, Joe Flacco came into that game last week. I mean, let's start with Taylor. I mean, he's had a couple big games against this franchise in the past. If he's healthy, where is he in terms of the hierarchy of running backs in the NFL?
I mean, obviously, this year, JP, the league is missing one of the best in Christian McCaffrey. Terrible news came out about his Achilles tendonitis. I don't even know what that diagnosis means. But when you look at JT, man, I don't like to see that Taylor 28 running down the field versus the Jaguars. But I do like to see it because it reminds me of another Taylor 28 in his league. I mean, he has all the tools. He has the speed. He has the power. He can catch the ball. And I don't say this, to kind of toot my own horn, but he reminds me a lot of myself because he has that ability. And in terms of the running back hierarchy, I look at the younger guys now in Bijan Robinson, who I think is an absolute dog. Saquon is still one of my favorites. I think he's stepping up his game in Philly now. He has a more complete offense around him where he can showcase his abilities. And you put JT, even in spite of those injuries, he's still a top 5 running back. Jacobs and Green Bay. But yeah, JT is certainly going to help that offense go. He's going to take pressure off of 68-year-old Joe Flacco and allow Joe to be able to get back there and do the things he's used to doing as a veteran guy who's been around the block a few times. So this Colts team can be scary. I think they're not as dynamic with Joe back there, but they're efficient. Joe's going to get the ball to the right guys. He's going to read a soft coverage if the Jags play that. He's going to find the right throw. If you don't have pressure, he's certainly going to find a throw. He's still plenty accurate. Look what happened last year versus the Browns and the Jags. Joe led those guys to a victory. So it can get scary if JT gets off on a fast, hot track. If he is healthy, he had that minor high ankle. If he gets off to a fast start, it can be a long day for the Jaguars defense.
Fred Taylor with us. You mentioned Flacco there. We'll see about Anthony Richardson as well. Obviously, a totally different skill set than Joe Flacco in so many ways. Yeah. But he's only started 8 games in his career, and now it's a couple of years in the league. I mean, every time he's been injured, it's a design quarterback run, it seems like. So at some point, the Colts will have to think about changing the way they utilize Anthony Richardson, right? Or am I off base there?
No, you're right on point, JP. And I don't want to see it for Richardson. AR, Florida boy, grew up in Gainesville, right there, Florida Gator. So I know him well, and I root for him. When I told him on the podcast, when he's not playing the Jaguars, I'm going to root for him. And he's a big, strong young man, and it's unfortunate that he are prone and susceptible to these injuries, and they're not just regular injuries because he's strong. Like, they are injuries that make you force you out of games. And if they're not injuries, they're concussions. And that's what we've seen from Anthony Richardson. So regardless of the fact, I think the Colts I think they have two quarterbacks that are capable. You have one that's dynamic in his own right, sort of trending towards the way that position has been sort of evolutionizing, going to. And you have another one that's just old school, going to stand in the pocket. He's not going to be sexy, but his experience will beat you. And that's Joe Flacco. So be an interesting matchup.
All right, Fred, final thought with you. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but alumni weekend is here and Tom Coughlin going to the pride of the Jaguars. And, I know you guys have a long history together. And so I'm not going to ask you one memory, but I mean, it's fitting that the guy who started the organization is now on the wall here at Everbank Stadium, right?
Yeah, it's just an extension of who he is, who he's always been, and who he will always be. He started his career building the foundation for this Jaguars organization. February 21st, 1994 is the day they hired Coach Coughlin, and he hit the ground running. He hit the ground setting the foundation through hiring, developing front office, helping develop the staff. It was the Weaver ownership group and Coach Coughlin. They entrusted him to the ability to build inside out. And, it wasn't always perfect, but we had some glory days. We had some great years, had a lot of Coughlin type fun. We had the TC moments. And I think if anyone's more deserving to be an extension of the building that he basically built, like he helped build this organization, and now he's gonna be a part of the building for eternity. His grandkids and their kids, they'll have an opportunity to walk in the building and see, their great granddad, great granddad name on the wall. So for me, I think it's great. He's the seventh member of the Pride, lucky number 7, and he's done so much not only for the organization, but through the J Fund, his philanthropic efforts in the community there. Even though he left, he never left. Excuse me, because the foundation always remained, and he's always done some great things there on that end of the ball. So, JP, man, my best Coughlin memory is getting that call on draft day. And son, young man, are you ready to be a Jaguar? Well, I wasn't gonna say no, and that's the reason everybody gets to hear my voice. Each and every time we do pre and post game, each and every time something's involved with the Jaguars, is because he took a chance on this young kid out of Belgrade, Florida, who wasn't 100% sure he was ready for the big time. But when he pulled that trigger and he called my name, my life changed. So I told him I'm forever indebted, to him. And if I had a vote for the Hall of Fame, he would get that too. And I would certainly put him in before I would vote myself in. So that's how much I think of him. And again, it's certainly well-deserved. And hopefully we can finish off his day with a big win.
Fred, we'll talk to you a little bit later, man. Well done. See ya.
I'll be here. I'll be ready.